Gonna have to order a new chassis, 34 quid. Gonna order a new body shell pre-painted, the stock one. I think that's 30 quid. So this is gonna get expensive, but it's a pretty cool truck. I think it's worth spending the money on. I've got a Nosram 3cc engine in the Nitro MT as well. So if this engine is terrible, I can always put that in. I did look how much the parts are for this truck and they're all fairly cheap, but when you put loads in your car it all adds up. So these horrible bits I'm just going to leave for now. This paint comes off fairly easily, so I might just rub them down a bit. I also looked at getting some new springs. A set of fours, £4.50. So again, very cheap for the parts. So yeah, I'm only going to get the parts I need to fix it for now, like the chassis, a new body. Well, body doesn't really need fixing, but is really, really awful, and it's not covered up. I tried to find this cover, however, this thing here, but I could only find a Thunder Tiger part from Italy, and it's like 20 quid for a piece of plastic, so I'm not going to do that. One more thing as well before I go for today that I found very interesting to give you an idea of how big the wheels and tyres are. This is the wheel and tyre off this, and this is a HPI Warlock wheel with a Proline Badland, the original version, Badland MT. That is 1132, and I used to run these on the Hyper ST, 17mm hex unfortunately, so it won't fit on this, but they're exactly the same size in every single way. The only difference is the Badland has a lot taller tread, but they are exactly the same size, so these should be really, really good tyres for most surfaces, I would have thought. Unfortunately, two of them are ripped, which is really, really annoying. So a pair of these, the only pair I could find in stock in the whole UK, were 18 quid. Luckily the other two are alright. I think this is one of the alright ones. There's two of them are ripped like right on the middle, which is very annoying. Luckily they aren't glued on, so at least I don't have to unglue them, because that is a right pain. This gold paint as well just rubs off. I've just tried rubbing it off with a cloth. So I'm going to rub this gold paint off, and they're just white underneath. And then I'm going to dye these grey probably, or maybe black. And that should go with the body pretty well. I haven't got the entire car apart yet, but I've got all of the pieces off the chassis now. So we still need to go for all the pillow balls and the shocks, and also the rear gearbox, which has been painted this horrible green with gold on top, and sort out that. There's also the centre gearbox here, which is going to be pretty interesting to take apart, because obviously I think this is just a single speed in here, but it does have the forward and reverse lever, which does work very nicely. But show you the chassis here. I've cleaned it up a little bit. You can see it has lots of holes in it. It's pretty crazy really. And these holes in the side save weight. This chassis weighs absolutely nothing. I might weigh it actually. But we can have a closer look at this crack at the front here. All the way around. The rear looks perfectly fine. I have ordered a brand new chassis for 35 quid from, I think is it DMS or DSM in Watford. So obviously there's a cutout here for the steering, there are the cutouts for the gearbox, got the cutout for the tank on this side, that's where the spur gear goes. Transmission is pretty easy to get out. You can take one drive shaft off, and then because these are universals and they just fold over completely like that, You can literally just lift the transmission out like that before you take your brakes to get your brake pads off, and yeah, it's actually quite easy to work on other than accessing the diffs, which is pretty nice. And yeah, it's just a really interesting design. You can see everything has been cut out with a purpose, so yeah, it's just an interesting chassis. And we have got all the bits off now, so I can go ahead and start rebuilding it. I've ordered some bits to rebuild it, some new steering posts and bushings. Unfortunately, I did want to get the bearings and the upgraded one, but the upgraded part for this was like 20 quid. And with me buying new wheels, or not new wheels, sorry, a new pair of tyres, a new body and the new chassis, obviously that cost quite a lot. So I don't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on the truck before it's even moved anywhere. I would like to get the engine tested first, but we'll see. I do want to test all the electronics as well, so I'll probably get the electronics plugged in while they're out of the car. I'm also going to test the engine outside of the car as well, because I don't need the chassis to test the car. So yeah, I'm going to wait for the new chassis to come to rebuild it all, so I will have forgotten what bits go where. So that's going to be fun. Like I said before as well, I'm going to try and replace as many of these screws as I can with hex head screws. I haven't been able to find these in aluminium, which I would really like, which is a bit of a shame, but they are quite thick plastic actually, and the front ones especially look pretty decent condition. The rear ones are a little bit oval shaped where they've been worn, so only the rear ones need replacing. I can probably get a set of plastic parts for about £5. So yeah, you've got all the different linkages for the brake and stuff there. That's the centre drive shaft, or one of them, that I took off the transmission. So yeah, it's quite an interesting truck. That's the bearing carrier, and the bearing seems perfectly fine. It goes on this side of the transmission. I'm going to be tearing it all down, all the rest of it, while I'm waiting, but just wanted to show you I've got everything off the chassis now.